Good evening and welcome. I will now call the board meeting of September 15th, 2025 to order. I would like to call on Trustee Singh to read our land acknowledgement.
The Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school board and schools are located. Today, this area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that the Durham region forms a part of the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississauga of Scugog Island First Nation, the Mississauga peoples, and the territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live.
Thank you, Trustee Singh. I would like to call on the media technicians team to play the recorded performance of O Canada for this evening, and we look forward to welcoming in-person performances beginning at the October board meeting. Please stand if you're able. Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none, there are no declarations of interest at this time. Can I please have a mover and seconder to approve the agenda as distributed? Thank you, Trustee Cunningham. Thank you, Trustee Thatcher. The agenda, all in favour? Thank you. The agenda is approved as distributed. We will now move to item 6, which is the consent agenda item. We have the draft June 16th, 2025 regular board meeting, the draft June 23rd, 2025 special board meeting, the draft July 21st, 2025 special board meeting, and the adoption of any resolutions from the September 15th, 2025 in-camera committee of the whole board meeting regarding trustees' attendance. And the resolution was to approve the absence of Trustee Linton and Trustee Cowie. We then have the adoption of the resolution from September 3rd, 2025 standing meeting, the Anti-Semitism in Ontario Schools, and the OSSTF petition. Sorry, I've missed one. We also need the adoption of any other resolution from the September 15th, 2025 in-camera committee of the whole board meeting. If there is any objection to the matters listed in section 6 of the agenda being approved or adopted as noted on the agenda. Seeing no objection, all items listed on the consent agenda are approved or adopted as noted. We will now move to item number 7, public question period. Each question being asked this evening will be displayed on screen along with its responses from staff. Only questions received via the online form prior to the deadline of last Friday at 12 p.m. will be addressed. In accordance with the established question period process, questions received after the deadline or via alternative formats are not eligible to be addressed. Questionnaires are reminded to ask only their approved question. We have allocated up to 30 minutes. We have allocated up to 30 minutes for public question period, and a timer will be visible for all participants. In accordance with the board's bylaw, if the 30 minutes is exceeded, any approved questions not answered at the meeting will be responded to through the website. To ensure adequate time is available for regular business at this meeting, questions received of a similar nature may be grouped together. All approved questions, along with their corresponding answers from staff, will be posted on the DDSB website following this meeting. All questions submitted for public question period will be shared with trustees following the meeting. The board's bylaw permits one question per questionnaire to be addressed. Supplemental or follow-up questions can be submitted to the next public question period or at any time through the general inquiries mailbox on the DDSB website. I would like to invite Dylan Reynolds to ask questions virtually, which will be responded to by Associate Director David Wright.
Madam Chair, if I may, Dylan did join us online a short while ago and then has dropped off, and we're not sure if he's going to join us. So, Dylan, sorry we're missing you tonight. I will read your question and the response. So Dylan's question was about the school bus driver shortage. About a year ago, there was a question about the bus driver shortage, but at the start of every school year, there are a lot of bus delays. Dylan would like to know, are these delays due to the bus driver shortage, or is it just due to the start of school year delays? At the start of each school year, Durham Student Transportation Services experiences a higher than usual number of bus delays. These are generally not the result of driver shortages, but are most often related to either planned route timings being impacted by increased traffic volumes and construction projects throughout the region, congestion around schools, parents and community members interacting with drivers at bus stops, students becoming familiar with boarding and exiting procedures, including extended loading times at schools as staff assist students. Many of the delays resolve themselves within the first week of school as routines stabilize. In some cases, however, routes require adjustments to better reflect current traffic conditions. For delays that are the result of ongoing route timing issues, DSTS begins making adjustments during the second week of school. Dylan, I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Associate Director Wright. I will now read the next question.
Through you, Chair. The question number 2 is on the screen. The DDSB appears to use public funds to provide race-based, like the Mark Joel Trailblazer Scholarship, DBEN, etc., scholarships for DDSB students. What is the breakdown of publicly funded scholarships by race, and how many publicly funded scholarships are exclusively for Black students compared to non-Black students? And I believe that Associate Director Markowski had the response to that question. No? So the response to the question is that we, as per ministry directive, we do not have public funds used for scholarships for students. Grant funds are not used for scholarships and bursaries, and we wanted to be very clear that the premise of the question is actually, in fact, misleading and inaccurate.
Thank you, Director Taylor Williams-White. Thank you. I will now ask Associate Director David Wright to read and respond to the next question submitted by Nadeza Romero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, Executive Officer Michelle Giroux is going to answer this question for the board. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Question 3 is a question submitted by Jasmine Gracias. And the question is there something being done from the DDSB to state to the Ford government that Durham values board trustees? If not, what can be done to show the Ford government board trustees are valuable? So in terms of response, I think it's important to note that at this time, we haven't received any formal communication to school boards about changes to governance structures, certainly aware of media reports. The Durham District School Board is, as you know, a member of the Ontario Public School Boards Association, who acts as an important advocate on behalf of school boards and trustees. We have been in contact with OPSPA to talk about their monitoring and advocacy work in this area. They have advised that they are monitoring media reports, and we will continue to work with them and recognize their lead role in advocating on behalf of school boards on legislative issues, including supporting OPSPA's efforts on Local Government Week, which happens in October.
Thank you. I will now ask Associate Director Jim Markowski to read and respond to the next question submitted by Tom O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. The question reads, good evening. My question relates to the gifted program available through the DDSB at high school level. Many of the school boards we'll do question 5, Chair Brown, and then we'll come back to question 4. I apologize.
Thank you, Associate Director Markowski.
Many of the school boards around the DDSB offer the internationally recognized International Baccalaureate Program for gifted children in their regions, known as the IB program. TDSB, York Region, Halton Region, etc. IB programs give additional challenges and benefits to gifted students through a demanding course load and international recognition for their graduation. The benefit of that recognition obviously extends to Ontario universities as well. While recognizing that there is a cost associated with IB programs, other school boards manage that in a fair and equitable way. If a fee is required, it can be means tested with a reasonable surcharge for families who pay a bit more to generate a fund to support less advantaged families. Has the DDSB considered introducing an IB program in place of its existing gifted program, helping to level the playing field for DDSB gifted students versus students in neighboring school boards? So Tom, thank you for that question. The DDSB has contemplated the IB program on more than one occasion in the past. The decision was made not to move forward with offering the program option. There are many districts in the province and across the country who do not engage in IB programming, but students still remain competitive relative to their peers and access to post-secondary education and outcomes.
Thank you. I will now go back to, I believe, question 4. And I will also go back to Associate Director Jim Markowski to please read and respond to the next question.
Thank you, Chair Brown. I believe I'll read it, and Associate Director Wright can actually respond At a previous meeting, it was stated that Josiah Henson has a capacity of 634 students with a projected enrollment of 808, requiring 5 portables at that time. The school will now be open with 6 portables while housing developments in the area continue to grow. What is the maximum number of students this school can actually accommodate, including portables, before it becomes a health and safety concern, especially with washroom capacity? What is the washroom capacity? And why hasn't the boundary been reduced? For example, not extending as far east to the York-Durham line or so far south instead of relying on more portables.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. Josiah Henson Public School was designed to accommodate up to 12 portables. With the strong enrollment that we have seen this year, we may require 8 portables being on site. The washroom capacity within the school can accommodate an occupant load of 970 persons, excluding childcare operations. The Josiah Henson Public School boundary aligns with the growth boundary that has been in place since development in the area began. While the boundary itself is quite large, the majority of the enrollment growth is coming from the neighborhoods immediately surrounding Josiah Henson Public School and the area immediately north across Taunton Road. Schools are funded and constructed to accommodate a mature, sustained enrollment over the lifetime of the facility. During the life cycle of a school, there will be times when student enrollment exceeds the school capacity, and portables will be utilized as temporary accommodation for students. As development continues in the area and enrollment grows, DDSB will be able to apply to the Ministry of Education for funding for new schools and create additional permanent boundaries when they open. If Josiah Henson Public School reaches its maximum occupancy, additional growth boundaries for new developments will be created, and partner schools with capacity for additional students will be assigned.
Thank you, Associate Director Wright. I will now move to the Chair's update. As Chair of the Board of Trustees, I am pleased to share this first update of the school year and extend a warm welcome back to all students, families, staff, and community members. A new school year brings fresh opportunities to connect and grow together. It's the perfect time for families to get involved and make meaningful impact in your school community. Whether it's attending upcoming curriculum nights or joining the school community council, your participation helps build a stronger, more supportive environment for all students. Reach out to your child's principals to learn how you can be a part of that excitement. A huge congratulations is in order for the varsity cricket team from J. Clark Richardson Collegiate. In June, they made history by winning the prestigious 2025 Mayor's Cup, solidifying their place as #1 school cricket team in Ontario. Under the leadership of coaches Shazika Williams, Grant Madden, and Bivan Fernandez, the team delivered a series of outstanding performances showcasing sharp bowling, solid batting, and excellent fielding. In support of Durham students, Trustee Linton led a successful back-to-school supply drive this August. Thanks to the incredible generosity of the Pickering community, over 100 backpacks and essential school supplies such as shoes, lunch bags, water bottles, and more were donated. These supplies were distributed to students across both the Durham District School Board and the Durham Catholic School Board. This initiative is a wonderful example how we can come together to support student success and well-being. That concludes the Chair's update for tonight. I will now move to agenda item 9, good news from the system. I will now call on staff to share this month's good news presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. This month we are adjusting the approach to the good news to the system to link it closer to our multi-year strategic plan. And so as we shift forward over the course of this year, we will be bringing forward reflections on the multi-year strategic plan in this slot in the agenda. And so I'll turn to our media tech team to press play.
On behalf of DDSB and staff were excited to share a sample of stories that highlight our multi-year strategic plan, MYSP, Pillar of Meaningful Learning. Over the summer, the DDSB led several learning initiatives, including Great Beginnings in the Great Beginnings Afrocentric Program for Black Student Success. These kindergarten transition programs designed to ensure a positive start to school in September provided culturally grounded and engaging experience for our youngest learners. Our summer camps also offered meaningful opportunities for growth and exploration, especially through our outdoor education programs at Durham Forest. Summer school programs across the district accommodated the attendance of over 12,500 secondary students. In-person summer school courses were held in July and asynchronous learning was offered in August. The annual Getting Ready for High School program prepared new grade 9 students for classes at their local high school, easing the transition into the new school year. Through their new After the Bell program, the Ignite Durham Learning Foundation, IDLF, filled cupboards with groceries and provided gift cards for families who needed support through the summer. From Stuff the Bus drives to lively bargain sales, IDLF worked hand in hand with local charities and neighbors to make sure every student steps into September with a backpack full of supplies, confidence, and hope. At the end of August, school and office administrators gathered at Uxbridge Secondary School for the DDSB's annual Activation Day event. Highlights of the day included an update on the DDSB multi-year strategic plan, the Maxwell B. Nelson Leadership Award presentation to Principal Alicia Russell, a student panel discussion, and engaging breakout sessions. Facility services kept busy over the summer with heating and ventilation upgrades, water main replacements, washroom upgrades, accessibility projects, roofing, and window upgrades. Custodial teams cleaned facilities, refinished floors at all locations, and attended training sessions at the Education Center. The maintenance department completed many work orders across the district, assisted with school-based project work, and are in the process of hiring new staff. The first day of school burst to life across the district with eager footsteps on freshly polished floors and the warm greetings of principals, teachers, and support staff. Families and students buzzed with anticipation as a sense of possibility filled the air. Here's to a year of growth, discovery, and moments that will inspire us all.
Thank you to Clara from R.H. Cornish Public School for reading this month's MYSP update.
Thank you. We will now move to agenda item 10. We have 3 recommended actions. So 10A is short-term borrowing resolution, and I'll move that over to Associate Director David Wright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a report that comes annually to trustees asking for confirmation of allowable short-term credit facilities. This borrowing is used to cover our ongoing education and development charge deficit. It's used to short-term finance capital projects and, if required, to bridge operational expenses. The report requests, again this year, access to $275 million. I'd like to point out and ask for an adjustment in advance if trustees do approve this. The report states that the short-term borrowing limit being requested is $275 million. You'll notice that that is not an agreement with the bylaw resolution that is included in the package that states $275,900,000. With apologies, there's a little bit of a disconnect. We're actually looking for $275 million in a short-term credit facility. The $900,000 is has been historically held to provide a letter of credit to vendors if required. I won't get into confusing details, but I do believe the motion needs to be amended, please, to read $275,900,000. Happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Associate Director. Right. Are there any trustees who are willing to move and second the recommendation included in the report?
Thank you. Yes, I will move the recommended action. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the borrowing resolution for the 25-26 school year as noted in Appendix A, which allows the board to borrow to a maximum of $275,900,000. Thank you.
Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Trustee Pinello. Discussion and debate of the motion is now open. I would like to offer the first speaking opportunity to the Trustee Morton as the mover of the motion.
I fully support this motion, and as Associate Director Wright has said, we do this annually. This is not new. This is a necessity. Thank you.
Vice Chair Oldfield.
Thank you. I have, I think, 3 questions. So while the delayed grant payment strategy reduces provincial borrowing costs, what, if any, of the borrowing costs does the DDSB incur, and how much of that is reimbursed by the province, and how much would have to be absorbed by the DDSB? Do you want all the questions at once, or do you want to do them one at a time?
In your hands, Trustee Oldfield. Happy to take all the questions if that's easier.
Sure. So the second question is, given the insufficient amount of the EDCs, what is our current deficit, and what is our anticipated deficit for the 25-26 school year? And I think, although I know that I asked this question and I asked it during the budget, but you know, what is the maximum amount our lenders will allow, and what do we do when we can no longer borrow money when we reach that maximum?
Thanks very much. Through you, Madam Chair. Just to clarify, the credit facility is used for both capital draws and to fund the purchase of properties. So it's used as a holding account until we get EDCs to pay off the debt, which may never come in this district, but that's the intention. So there's 2 different things. We incur interest on short-term borrowing to fund capital projects. That interest gets charged back to the Ministry of Education, and they fund us twice a year for those capital draws. So there's no out-of-pocket money for DDSB for that interest. The interest charges to borrow to purchase land that is supposed to be covered through EDCs gets added back to the EDC account. So it's an ever-increasing interest amount. It is allowed to be charged to the EDC account, and so again, the way it's intentioned, we collect EDCs to cover the cost of land purchases and anti-interest payments. Again, we're so offside in this district that we may never get to balance, but that is the intention. So in a way, DDSB isn't out of pocket, certainly not out of operating pocket to cover the cost of interest. There is a mechanism to cover that, and I just want to be very clear that this is different than an operating deficit. There is no operating interest charge to DDSB. That is the first piece. The second piece, our current EDC deficit, or our current EDC deficit is about $175 million. We do have borrowing on top of that for short-term capital bridge financing. We anticipate that the EDC deficit at the end of the school year will be about $225 million. So we are broaching that $275 million limit. We have had conversations with our current lender who have indicated that we're probably at the max short-term borrowing under the current arrangement. So we continue to engage in dialogue with the Ministry of Education about the reality that we may not be able to secure additional short-term funding, and we'll look for their support in helping us to either acquire additional long-term financing facilities or to support us with a capital injection, or ideally to cover our EDC deficit.
I will now go to Trustee Morton.
Thank you. I do have a question, and this is in regards to the EDC charges. Looking at short-term borrowing, are we continuing to inform the ministry of our deficit concerns that are caused by the limits that have been imposed upon us by the EDC? They have imposed the limits and we have to live by them. What can we do to further inform the ministry of those concerns?
Thanks for the question. Through you, Madam Chair. As recently as 2 weeks ago, I did have a conversation with one of the associate deputy ministers or assistant deputy ministers about our EDC, our significant EDC deficit and our growing EDC deficit. So we certainly are keeping it on their radar from a staff perspective. There really isn't much of a mechanism for staff to engage on the political side. That's outside of our world, and so we do keep it on the radar of staff in terms of what trustees might be able to do when you meet with your municipal or MPP colleagues. Keep it top of their mind as well, because it is a legitimate issue. A lot to ask for an organization our size to carry what's projected to be upwards of $600 million without really having a revenue stream to offset that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions or discussion? Seeing no further questions, further requests to speak, are we ready to vote on the motion before us? All those in favour? Any opposed? Thank you. That motion is carried. We will now move to the SEAC alternate member, which is on page 21, and I will hand it to Trustee Edwards.
Thank you. I'm moving the motion that was on a recommendation from the Special Education Advisory Committee that was adopted at their September 4th meeting. It's a motion. I move that the Board of Trustees approve the SEAC recommendation that Jordan Kyriakides be approved as the alternate representative to SEAC for the Association for Bright Children.
Thank you, Trustee Edwards. Do we have a seconder for this motion? Thank you, Vice Chair Oldfield. Discussion and debate of the motion is now open. I would like to offer the first speaking opportunity to Trustee Edwards as the mover of the motion.
I fully support the motion. Thank you.
Are there any more questions? Thank you. Seeing no further requests to speak, are we ready to vote on the motion before us? All those in favour? Any opposed? Thank you. The motion is carried. So then we'll move to... Oh, we didn't remove any items off the consent agenda, so we will now move to information items. And we have the Audit Committee meeting summary, and I will hand this over to Associate Director David Wright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The report is included on page 22 of your package. Details of the Audit Committee meeting are included in section 6 of the report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from trustees? Seeing none, I will now move to the quarterly construction of major projects. Associate Director David Wright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's my pleasure to welcome and introduce Lisa Bianca, Head of Facility Services, who is joining to present the report.
Great. Thank you, Associate Director Wright, and through you, Madam Chair. I'm very pleased this evening to be here to share with you an update on construction and development activities since our last report in June. Durham District School Board currently has Ministry of Education approval to construct 8 new schools, which are opening between September 2025 and 2028. And then furthermore, on September 8th, the Ministry of Education launched the 2025-2026 Capital Priorities Program for school boards to submit requests for future capital builds. Staff are reviewing the program parameters and will be preparing business cases over the next month for future allocations. Staff will share an information report on the CPP program with trustees following submission. I'm very pleased to share that Trillium Woods Public School welcomed students for the first time on September 2nd, and this morning, Josiah Henson Public School also opened its doors to students. Both schools will open with portables to accommodate the full enrollment. And I do want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the hard work and dedication for all involved in preparing these schools for students. Not just the facilities team, but the teaching staff, administrators, their families, senior staff. It truly was all hands on deck to get these 2 schools open, so I thank you. Our newest secondary school, unnamed Oshawa Secondary School, continues to make good progress towards its opening in September 2026. We expect to be watertight and moving on to interior finishing by late fall. Construction has started on 3 new elementary schools, 2 in West Whitby and 1 in North Oshawa. All 3 projects have contractors mobilized and construction underway as we work towards September 2026 openings. The unnamed West Whitby, Cisco and Limoges School experienced a later start than the other 2 new builds, and staff are reviewing the schedule with the contractor to see if a September 2026 opening remains viable. We will explore every opportunity to find efficiencies and improvements to the schedule to see if this opening can be maintained. We will need the next month or 2 to do this, and I will share an update in the December quarterly update. The remaining 2 capital projects, unnamed West Whitby Secondary School and the unnamed Oshawa Public School, East Oshawa, continue through the municipal approvals process and completing construction documentation. We expect to be going out for tender late in the fall. The Ministry of Education annually provides school boards with 2 grants to fund renovations and building improvements, and over 55 projects were tendered in the spring and completed over the summer months. Annual capital funds in the amount of over $30 million were used for the completion of the major projects in this report. As our staff begin to develop the 2025-2026 projects, we continue to prioritize our funding to achieve the greatest impact and further DDSB's strategic goals and key priorities. And as always, the quarterly construction report and all past reports can be found on the DDSB website and provide families, community members, current information on DDSB's capital works. Thank you, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any questions from trustees? Trustee Cunningham?
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone involved with getting Josiah Henson Public School up and running. I know it was disappointing that we didn't have it for the first week of the new school year, but having them in on the 3rd week, I think is so impressive since we had originally set around Thanksgiving time. But I also don't think we're giving enough credit to the fact that this school opened a full year ahead of when it was originally supposed to open. It was originally slated for September 2026. And I don't hear that getting enough credit, that we were able to open a whole year early thanks to your hard work and everyone who put so much effort into it. So while we talk about it being delayed, we don't talk about how it's actually early. So thank you to everyone who helped get it moving so quickly so that we could reduce a lot of the overcrowding, most of the overcrowding in Pickering schools. And I appreciate everything you did to make that happen. So thank you.
Trustee Thatcher?
Thank you. I thank you for the report. I always appreciate getting these quarterly reports. And certainly I think keeping us in the know is important. I'm hoping that this is within the scope of the report. Pleased that the one school actually did open on time, although I know there were some challenging moments. And the other school, the delay was, I think, probably a shorter period of time than was expected. So that is much appreciated, I'm sure, by our families. The question I have is the fact that the Durham Board did provide additional supports for both Trillium Woods and Josiah Henson. And I'm just wondering if we have any idea what the cost will be for that and how that will impact our budget, if at all.
Thank you for your question, through you, Madam Chair. The additional supports, which covered extra shifts by the contractor, expedited work, and that things of that nature, were all funded within the already approved capital funding that we had for the projects. So we do carry a contingency amount for unforeseen costs, and we were fortunate that we were able to fund this sort of these extra costs through that. So there will be no impact to the, certainly to the DDSB operating budget, nor to, the other capital budgets that we have. We were able to do it within the program budgets.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any more questions from trustees? Trustee Morton?
Thank you. My question is in regards to 6.2, the child care projects. The Sunderland Public School 3-room child care building addition, which was canceled 2 years ago this month. I'm wondering if this project can be reinstated in the capital priorities submission going forward.
Okay, thank you for your question, through you, Madam Chair. Unfortunately, Trustee Morton, the parameters of the capital call that we've had preclude us doing standalone childcare. We can only apply for childcare projects that are associated with a larger capital build, so it would be like a childcare within a new school. It is unfortunate because it doesn't help us meet the need in Sunderland, but we are always waiting for the next opportunity from the ministry when it does come, and we will certainly be welcome when it does.
Thank you. I will now go to Student Trustee Singh.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. With all of these new schools being built, there will also be a greater demand for school buses. So my question is, do we have a plan to meet the transportation needs of our students as well?
Thank you for your question. I'll start off, and then I'll see if Associate Director wants to add anything to it. The benefit of building new schools is they are built in the communities where many of the children live that we are busing to partner schools and growth schools. So the result of, for instance, opening Josiah Henson has actually been a reduction in the amount of school bus travel that we need to do. Many of those students can now walk to their school. So the new schools generally help us, but then there's always new development that will take up the space of those recently freed up bus routes as they grow. So it's a little bit of easing up and then new demand as additional neighborhoods are constructed.
I will now go to Trustee Pinello.
Thank you, Chair. Through you. Two bits. The first, gratitude, of course, because there is a lot of Oshawa happening in this update, and we are very, very grateful. I have received many emails from community who are excited about the new schools, who noticed some of the new signs over the summer, late spring, early summer, and are glad that there's, builds happening, as well as pressure being relieved, particularly with the new secondary school. Maxwell has had a lot of pressure since I was there, and that was enough time ago that it's only increased. And so I know folks are very, very grateful. So thank you so much for the commitment to advocating for our new schools. My question is something that we've addressed before, but I hoped you wouldn't mind expanding, particularly on the unnamed Oshawa Public School, East Oshawa, so the White Law. It's in the same relative neighborhood as Pierre-Elliott Trudeau, and so we did receive a couple of questions from parents who were just wondering about process, not just for enrollment, but also childcare. And so I was wondering if you would be able to sort of give a brief synopsis on what parents should expect to see with that new school opening if they're interested in, one, enrollment, but also two, you know, what it looks like to advocate for childcare spaces and what they might be able to expect in the next year or two as the process continues.
Great, thank you for your question. Through you, Madam Chair. The East Oshawa School is still sort of in the municipal stages of development, so we're about a year out from when we would be looking at some sort of, boundary designation. Staff are starting to think about it, but it's going to be about a year before we go out for consultation on what the ultimate permanent boundary is for that school. So my sort of, message to parents is, through your, children's current school, you will be contacted. Please participate in the consultation. We want to hear all the voices. It will be sort of a slightly different boundary review than what we are seeing in, say, some of the greenfield schools where it's all new development. Because we are using a site that the Durham Board has owned for many years, the neighborhood around it is quite built up. So we will be involving established neighborhoods as well as new growth neighborhoods. So it'll be a boundary review of a little, maybe an increased scope, less simple than some of the greenfields ones are. So again, consultation will be key so that we land in a place that is the best place for students and families. With respect to childcare, again, we're still a little far out for that, but our childcare partners will be engaging families, over the coming year as the projects develop. Okay.
Trustee Thatcher.
Thank you. I recently had the opportunity to meet with Superintendent Neville's Hamid and Macaulay, who provided some time to answer any questions that I had around the accommodation plan. And I just want to thank them for that to begin with, but also bring forward a question that I asked at that meeting, and it's around the capital priorities evaluation process and the capital priority submission, which I believe will be submitted early October. The criteria for capital priorities evaluation by the ministry is adherence to project timelines, time to completion, cost overages, an existing inventory of active projects. With regards to the delays that we've experienced and additional costs incurred with 2 new schools and possibly looking ahead even to the West Whitby Elementary School at Limoges, is there any opportunity that this might impact our capital priority submissions this year?
Thank you for your question. Through you, Madam Chair. I'm confident that we can make a very solid case to the ministry for our adherence to not only timelines and budget, particularly timelines where we have opened our schools. And in fact, as Trustee Cunningham mentioned, we were able to bring a school to fruition a full year ahead of when it was planned. So I think we can make a very strong case that as a board we are responsible and we are able to deliver projects when they are intended, if not before. All of our projects are within budget. Other than the award of one of the capital priorities, actually the Cisco and Limoges site where we had to go back and request a bit before we could award, we are operating and constructing them within the budgets that they've given us, and so they should have no concerns with that regard. So I really feel that as a district, as a board, we can make a very strong case for being a very good partner for the ministry in delivering these projects.
Thank you, Lisa. Seeing there's no further questions, I will now move to 11C, Pupil Accommodation Plan, Trends, Issues and Future Opportunities, 2025 to 2029. And even though I'm looking at Associate Director Wright, I have a feeling that this is Lisa. Bianca, thank you.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. I'm here this evening to share the Pupil Accommodation Plan, Trends, Issues, and Future Opportunities for the years 2025 to 2029. As most of you know, this report is updated each year and is the culmination of information gathering and analysis over the previous 12 months. New this year, we've included a reader guide, which is highlighting the changes from last year's plan and hopefully makes what's a very, very large document a little easier to navigate. We do recognize there's a lot of information in here. The accommodation plan provides data for decision making, including where to seek new capital priority schools, where boundary reviews may need to be considered, how we can support schools with declining enrollment so they continue to be able to offer the same learning opportunities to students, and how we can accommodate new students as our area grows. Through the growth analysis across the district, it seeks out and identifies demographics, discovers enrollment trends, and looks to see how these will impact school utilization and ultimately our students, staff, and families. As in previous years, the plan's divided into two parts with the goal of providing not only overall development trends and issues, but drilling down to those issues that are impacting each municipality and making it easy to find community-specific information. When read together, this is an all-encompassing document and proving insight into the impact of the last 5 years and what we can expect for the next 5. We do include enrollment projections. They've been provided for the years 2025 to 2029. And as you know, we update these each spring based on data derived from a variety of sources: registrations, grade-to-grade progression, and yield from new developments. We continue to experience growth in the region, albeit a little slower than it has been in the last few years, but we are growing nevertheless, and we are seeing this both in our mature neighborhoods, infill developments, and in the new developments across the northern areas of our urban municipalities. Throughout the year, we do receive many questions about enrollment and capacity, and I just wanted to point out that on page 11 and 12, we provide information on how these numbers are established, guiding principles on why, when a school is listed as being in excess of 100% utilization, it still remains a safe and effective learning environment for students. We get many questions about this throughout the year, so we're hoping this is valuable information. You'll notice both high and low utilization schools are identified in the report. Many high utilization schools are holding schools for growth areas and will see relief when new schools are opened. And staff are currently wrapping up the boundary consultation for the unnamed North Oshawa Secondary School, with a report coming to trustees in October, and we'll be embarking on three new, I've been talking too long, 3 new boundary consultations to establish boundaries for the 3 new elementary schools under construction. These are a public process, providing information, proposed solutions, and seeking input, and we encourage all community members to participate so that we can bring a decision to the board. In conclusion, the accommodation plan provides information on enrollment, school utilization, long-term trends and options, and available to accommodate change across our district. Thank you, and I'm open to welcoming questions.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any questions from trustees? Seeing none? Well, Trustee Edwards.
Thank you. And I appreciate some of the additional information that is laid out in the report, because it makes my life easier when I can refer to the document, and I do refer to it quite frequently when talking to parents and constituents about the growth and development of schools. I also appreciate the fact that you now refer to a lot of the data within the Durham official plan as well as the individual municipal official plans, because that also is very helpful. That we do indeed take into consideration the official plans of the municipalities, although sometimes development doesn't take into consideration school needs. So I appreciate that. I'm as far as this is, because I'm assuming this is a draft, because we still have to go through sort of a consultation to see, in order for the buildings, when we do the capital submissions, as far as input, because and we did have a previous presentation around the French immersion, particularly in Ajax, and some of that. So I just wanted to, again, the question is more of when can, once this is out, when can basically our communities and provide input into the plan?
Thank you for your question, through you, Madam Chair. The plan is put out, by the board, and it will be published and made available to the public on our website. And it is a consultative document. It provides the information that we have at hand at this moment in time. But as I said, it's constantly refined over the coming 12 months. So as boundary reviews come to fruition, as our work on the French immersion program is developed and shared with the board this fall, we will continue to update the document, and we will bring a revised document to the board next September.
Trustee Cunningham?
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Just a comment about something that would help me with reports like this in the future. So with Pickering, I know that we, on the eastern border, we send some French immersion students to Pickering High, and I know that up in Claremont, we send some students to Uxbridge and some students to JCR, which I actually learned really recently. So on these reports, when it says there are 2 secondary schools serving the Pickering area, it would actually be really helpful to know about those schools outside of Pickering that also help Pickering students. And I would imagine there's overlap in other cities as well that I'm just not familiar with. So that's something that would be really useful to me to see on these in the future, if that's something you're able to add in. Thank you.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. Absolutely, Trustee Cunningham. Whereas elementaries tend to be generally within municipality, but not always, secondary schools, because of the offerings, we do cross municipal boundaries quite frequently. So appreciate the comment, and we'll build it into our document.
Thank you, Lisa. Seeing no further questions, I will now move to the approved minutes of June 5th, 2025 SEAC meeting. And we have Trustee Miller, Edwards, and Arsenal. Trustee Edwards.
Thank you. Basically, the minutes that are the report for the June 5th Special Education Advisory Committee can be found in your package starting on page 193. And considering it's sort of a a summary of what happened. Basically, a lot of it has come to fruition, but I would say that again, it's really important to note that in June we had our abilities track meet that was phenomenal, and we had the most amount of participation across the board. And it continues to be an event that is well attended and looked forward to at the end of the year. Just noting that we already had one meeting, and we're looking at SEAC on how we address some of the actions that from the SEAC survey that was mentioned in the report. We did get the results, and so that's what we're looking forward, moving forward, as far as what we're going to do with some of those actions came out from the survey as a results of the survey. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Edwards. Do we have any questions from trustees? Trustee Pinello.
Thank you, Chair. Through you. Thank you for the report. Just a quick question in regards to the gifted program. We received an email just as an update, and I'm just wondering if we could just have clarified what the next steps for this piece looks like. My understanding is that there's consultation to follow, and I just wanted to confirm that that's involving SEAC. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, Chair. We're at the very beginning stages of that conversation. I think that the superintendent did indicate in her report to SEAC that we were undertaking a review, but that involves a whole lot of research before we start to advance a plan. And so SEAC has been engaged and will continue to be engaged, but again, we are at certainly very initial stages, and I can hardly suggest that we have a concrete plan in place at this time.
Are there any further questions? I will now move to the OPSPA update, and I will ask Trustee Edwards and Trustee Miller to bring forward a verbal report. Trustee Edwards.
It'll be a fairly quick report. Our OPSPA education policy and education programs and policy working group had met on Friday. We discussed changes in some of the legislation that is coming up, and particularly proposed regulatory amendments around collection of personal information, which involves basically police and records checks for not only for staff and volunteers and students on education placements. So it was just a consultation process because it's going through the proposed regulatory amendment process. Our next board meeting is on September 26th and 27th, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Edwards. Are there any questions on the report? Thank you. I will now move on to agenda item 12, dates of significance. The dates of significance for this month and next are noted in the agenda for information. Are there any questions from trustee? Thank you. Seeing no further business, can I please have a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting? Vice Chair Oldfield and seconder Trustee Jacula. Thank you. All in favour? Sorry, all in favour? Thank you. This meeting is now adjourned.